I'm a GAP in the UK. What? Hello, welcome to today's show. Today I'm going to be explaining how I became a gapper in the UK. Bear in mind that in today's video I may make some points that only apply to Australian GAP students, or make points that may only apply to GAP students who want to work in a UK school. There are plenty of ways to become a gapper in the UK, but today I'm going to only focus on 3 different categories. The first category I actually fall into. I was fortunate enough to have a school that had a really excellent GAP program running, and so I applied through them. So when I applied through my school, I needed to have an updated CV, a cover letter, and 2 references that were easily contactable. It is really important that in your CV and cover letter, your personality shines through, especially for prospective schools, as they like to get a feel of you even before you come to the school. Once I was accepted into my GAP program, I was invited for an interview. They asked me a whole bunch of questions that varied from what I plan to do in the next few years to where I would prefer and who I would prefer to go with. Again, in this interview, it's important that you show as much personality and as much eagerness for a gap year, because the last thing a school wants is for someone who's not willing to work and is not 100% enthusiastic about the jobs that they do. Also in your interview, make sure that they're aware that you're open to new experiences and that you do not mind where you're placed. That's one of the most important things, I think, is to not be picky about where you get placed and just be thankful for the experience that you're about to be offered. After the interview, my school then sent off my application to the school that they thought I was most suited to, and it turned out to be this one. Oh my gosh. After I was accepted by the school, I was then in direct contact with the GAP supervisor. From there, they sent me a letter in the mail which outlined my job position, how much I would get paid, and any other relevant information. For most schools, my friends and I needed to get a national criminal check in Australia. All you need to do is go down to your local police station, ask for a national criminal check, and for a small fee, they will send that out to you within a few weeks. At some schools, it's also a requirement to get a first aid certificate, and I would definitely recommend that even if it doesn't, just because then you're qualified in case of an emergency. So that's basically category 1, applying through school. Now obviously most schools won't have that option, and I know I was exceptionally fortunate to have such a great program at my school. Luckily, there are several other ways that you can become a GAP student in the UK. The second category is applying through a company. Now I've had friends who have applied through 2 different companies that I can recommend for you. First is Tutors Worldwide, and the second is Let's Live. Now both of these companies are very professional and are similar to the first category in ways of applying. Depending on what company you go with, depends on how much it will cost to apply and also the requirements that you need to meet. I will link their websites down below for you to check out. I would also recommend you do a quick Google search of other companies that may offer the same thing. The third category is to apply directly to a school that you would like to work at for a year. Applying directly may mean that you won't have to pay application fees, and it also gives you the flexibility of choosing the location and school that you would like to stay at. Similar situation to category 1 and 2, you will most likely need an updated CV and a cover letter to apply to the school. Once you've been accepted into a school, there's a lot of things that you need to organise before you leave. And the first one is getting there. The majority of my friends and I booked through STA Travel, which is a student travel agency. I can definitely recommend STA Travel for booking not only flights, but also your holidays during the year. Because it is a student travel agency, they do get discounted prices, plus you can also get yourself an international student card, which I would highly recommend, as it also gives you further discounts to major companies such as Busabout, Contiki and Top Deck. Another thing that you'll need to sort out is obviously your visas and passports. If you don't have a passport already, that is something you're definitely going to have to sort out quick smart. And if you do have a passport, your visa is your next stop. I personally have an ancestral visa, but the general GAP visa that I would recommend is the Youth Mobility Visa. And again, I will link all this information in the down bar, so don't freak out. The visa application process is quite lengthy, and in some cases it is quite confusing. So I would recommend sitting down with either a friend or a parent to assist you in your application process. Once you send your visa information away, you then need to go get a biometrics test, which is basically where you sit in front of a camera, they take a photo and a few fingerprints, and then you're on your way. There's also a charity visa that I know you can apply for if you're under 18 and wanting to come over on a gap year, so I will also link that down below. Another option instead of getting a visa is that if you are eligible, you can come and work in the UK on a British passport. So obviously this week's video may be slightly boring and a bit serious, but honestly I wish I had someone to tell me what exactly I needed. Stay tuned for part 2, that'll come later on sometime. If you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. Same as if you liked me or this channel, please subscribe. Everything mentioned in this video will be linked down below. I hope this helped any future gappers wanting to come, and I will see you all next week. Bye!